And joining us now, South Carolina Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Congresswoman, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Thank you for having me today.
Okay, so let's pick up where we started with Jake, which is this idea of billions more the White House has requested in funding with respect to helping Ukraine. You've heard some Democrats out there say that the holdup in the House is actually helping Russia, that you're aiding Moscow. Our Bret Baier sat down with President Zelensky a few days ago in Ukraine, and here's what he said.
We just want to live, to survive. We don't have alternative. We just want to survive. I think congressmen, just people with their families, with their children, and I think they understand that we are just trying to save our houses with children.
So what's your message to the people of Ukraine about why this is stalled in the House?
Well, number one, we've given Ukraine over $100 billion so far in their endeavor to defeat Russia. But this is what the left does. When they don't want to talk about policy in Biden's failed mission in Ukraine, they want to say that Republicans are pro-Putin and pro-Russia, when nothing could be further from the truth. What we really are is pro-America, our citizens, and our national security. The one thing that you did not hear Jake Sullivan or Joe Biden say today, or really ever, is defining our mission in Ukraine. They have yet to define that mission. They have yet to set the strategy, and they have yet to articulate how are we going to get out of this situation when every dollar we have is given to their country and it is or is not successful. How do we get out of this? And you haven't heard that defined to the American people. You certainly haven't heard that defined to Congress. If we had the answer, we'd be talking about it, and perhaps there would be more support for it. But the last thing I want to say is that this administration is putting the borders of other nations first rather than our own. And before anything else happens with Ukraine and U.S. funding for Ukraine, I want to know is what are we doing about the invasion and our national security at our southern border? That should be the number one priority of Joe Biden and this administration, full stop.
Well, and they say that they are trying to get something done and that you guys are the ones who are blocking it. Actually, they say, the president, that you, quote, just went on vacation instead of staying here to get something done. The House has been out of session. But that criticism isn't just coming from the left. Here is your former governor, Nikki Haley, talking about that.
The problem is Congress should have gotten in a room and kept going until they could get a strong bill out. Instead, they went home on break for 2 weeks. And then President Trump goes and tells them, don't get anything done until after the general election.
So what about this idea, this criticism that President Trump is calling the shots? He's telling you guys what to do. You're not solving the border when you could. Heat from the White House and from the GOP.
Well, first of all, I don't ever take a break. I work 7 days a week, and I also don't take orders from anybody. I don't care if they have an R or a D by their name. But the truth of the matter is, and to fact check that remark, is that the House Republicans have sent over not one, but 2 border security bills. Actually very strong border security bills, including May of last year when we passed H.R. 2. It went to the Senate, where Chuck Schumer has sat on it. He refuses to take it up. The second bill we did was the Homeland Security Appropriations Bill, which had strong, again, border security language in it. Again, he refused to take it up. And so we've started that marker. We've sent 2 bills over, and Senate Democrats have refused to take it up and instead tried and failed to send over a massive mass amnesty bill back over to the House, which is not what the American people wanted. And you heard the American people stand up and speak out. And that bill died on the vine in the Senate, didn't even make it out. And so we've been working really hard in the House under Mike Johnson's leadership, and I want to commend him for holding the line on border security.
We've got another very heavy lift because there are the first batch of appropriations bills are due March 1st. That is Friday. This is after kicking the can down the road multiple times. And there are real concerns about where this winds up. I mean, Democrats have said they blame the infighting, the problems that the Republicans are having for not being able to get those things done. And they're going to blame you if there's a shutdown. Here is Congressman James Clyburn.
If this government shuts down and people don't get their Social Security check, their retirement checks, and people are laid off from work, they are going to have this laid right at the doorstep of the Republican Party, and we are not going to back up from that one bit.
So Politico reports that there was a call, House-wide GOP, with the Speaker last night, and that there was some frustration about the infighting. They say this: as the Speaker works to defeat policy demands from Democrats and secure GOP priorities in those measures, he acknowledged that his deal-making power is undermined by the fact that a contingent of House Republicans now routinely blocks GOP measures from being debated with a simple majority bar for passage. Indeed, a letter out this week from the House Freedom Caucus with a long list of things they are concerned about. They have priorities that clearly, if they're in these bills, Democrats are not going to vote for. So what happens? Do we get these bills done? Is there a government shutdown coming? And how worried are you about the Republicans paying the price for that?
Well, I've seen different factions, try to sabotage legislation, especially regarding border security. And it's kind of shocking to see that behind the scenes. But the fact of the matter is that there are laws in this country that Congress should follow, including the 1974 Budget and Control Act, which says Congress is supposed to, by law, have a budget, 12 appropriations bills to back up that budget. And that's what we should be doing. Now, House Republicans, we've passed 10 out of the 12 appropriations bills out of committee. 7 of those bills have passed out of the floor of the House. It's up to the Senate and should be to take those measures up, follow the laws in this country, and let's move forward. Those are the bills we should be negotiating off of, but instead, Senate Democrats want to take a different path. They want to blame everything, all of our failures on Republicans, but that's not the case. We're doing our job. We're following the law and trying to do our part, but it's up to Schumer, who's killed every endeavor we've tried to do to be responsible about spending this year, this fiscal year, and just killed it.
Well, we know that there are things that have to be settled within the GOP before you can move anything now as a new batch of bills is due. We will track it. We understand there may be some word from the negotiators tonight about what they have moving into this week. We'll see you back here in Washington, Congresswoman. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.